my sake as a testimony to them and to the Gentiles.
Let me ask you something over in Acts the 9th chapter, 15 verse. Just run there, and then I'm not going, and then we'll talk about it later on. But just see what it says in Acts the 9th chapter, 15 verse.
But the Lord said to him, Go, for he is a chosen vessel of mine to bear my name before Gentiles, kings, and the children of
Isn't
Israel.
that something? Did you see that? Isn't that something? What did your Bible say, Calvert, in 18?
It said, you will be brought before governors and kings for my sake as a testimony to them and to the Gentiles.
Wow. Keep going.
Amen. But when they deliver you up, do not worry about how or what you shall speak, for it will be given to you in that hour what you should speak. For if it is not you who speak, but the Spirit of your Father who speaks in you.
Dwayne, but the Spirit, Dwayne, but the Spirit of your Father who speaks. I just thought I'd drop that one at you. 21? 21? No, he knows what I'm talking about.
And the brother shall deliver up his brother to death, and the father the child. And the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that endures to the end shall be saved.
23, sure.
When they persecute you in this city, flee to another. For assuredly I say to you, you will not have gone through the cities of Israel before the Son of Man comes. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master.
Amen.
25?
Oh, it is enough for...
Oh, no, 25 is.
Oh,
Teresa.
It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as the Lord, as his Lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? Fear them not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known.
27, 28.
Whatever I tell you in the dark, speak in the light, and what you hear in the ear, preach on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
Amen.
Betty, 29, 30.
Where are we?
10. Matthew's 10.
Are not 2 sparrows sold for farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father?
And if it serves you all right, wasn't this a part of the sermon on Sunday? I want you to see. But we're going to go back to 16. And here's what we want to talk about. He says, behold, I send you out as what?
Sheep.
In the midst of wolves.
So I send you out. What does a sheep consider?
Dumb.
You got a dumb animal. So I send you out as a dumb animal. But watch this. He says, but so I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. What will wolves do to sheep?
Eat them.
Eat them up, right? So watch this. So then he said, then there's something that needs to take place. We'll get to the next verse, but I want you to see this. He says, but I send you out as sheep. We said dumb. If we wanted to, we could remove dumb and call it what? Humble. Humble. See what I'm saying? I sent you out as humble. How about this word? Innocent. I send you out as innocent. So I'm sending you out as innocent. But I want you to understand. You go out innocent, dumb, however you want to place it. You go out, but you do need to understand what you're going into. So you're going to wrestle with who? with wolves. And what is that wolf? One that's what?
Seeking
Yeah, right. He's out to do what?
He's a
do you
predator.
harm.
To destroy. So then, if this is the case, listen to what he's saying. I'm sending you out humble, or I'm sending you out as innocent. And guess what you got to deal with? The Jehovah's Witnesses. And guess what you got to do? You hear what I'm saying? And guess what you got to deal with? Muslims. And guess who you got to deal with? Remember, these wolves are out to do what? To prove you different. They're out to tear you apart.
Right.
You know, you're coming in to give them the gospel. They're out to prove that you're wrong. And so that's why he says study daily. Because if you have become a student of God, then remain innocent. Remain humble. Why? You know what you're dealing with. So why get into a fight with them? See what he's saying? Why are you getting into a fight with them? Will you win? Not if you're sheep. Till you hear me? Not if you're sheep. You're going to lose. Why, boy? They call it, I don't know about you all, but today's the Jehovah's Witnesses, they're pretty smart now.
Yep.
They really are. If you show me, and they understand some things now. So does your Muslim religion. I know what you're saying, because you've been there. I know you've been there.
We did. They're not. And I did it when I visited my sister. I'm telling you, it's a whole new something going on with them, and they're closing their doors left and right.
Yes, they are.
What do you mean closing?
They are closing those kingdom halls.
They are closed.
What? Girl, you didn't eat what?
Why?
Yeah.
Talk
Because
to me.
they're finding the same thing that the Catholic religion is finding, pedophilia. They're finding that these elders are manipulating children and everything. And what the society does is have people that congregate pay for those buildings and deed them to them. So it's a whole, they're not strong, they're very weak, and that's why they walk away. Because they're not going to confront you because they don't have the information that you give.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That's awesome for you. Or I said, so that's one religion. Like you said, you got the Catholic religion too. That believes, believe it or not, the Catholic religion is your oldest religion. Don't ever remove that. Okay? And so now watch this. But they have a battle. Do you hear how many people or what the people are giving to that cathedral that burned down?
Oh,
You heard that?
Billions.
I couldn't believe what I'm hearing. You're talking about, and they still not through with contribution. So you see, it shows you wolves. They're out there. I don't care what you say, pedophiles. I don't care what you say. You don't understand
Deception.
And he's done a wonderful job at deceiving people. That wolf has done a wonderful job at deceiving people. So I just wanted you to see that. My brother ain't gave me my paper back yet, and then sorry. But so then stop and think about it. Here we go. He's made the difference. He says, and the one and I told you this. He says, therefore, and here we go. He says they're in the midst of wolves, right?
Mhm.
He says, so therefore what?
Be wise as serpents.
So then guys, let's talk about that serpent. Didn't God tell Moses to form a snake and to lift it up? That staff and to turn, when it was a snake, he said, and lift, no, I ain't talking about that part. I'm talking about when how many people had died? 24,000 people had died, and he says, what you do, you're going to take the staff, which is the form of a snake. He said, what you're going to do is you're going to, anytime they're going to do what? They have to look. They have to look. He said, and if they don't look, then they'll die. I said, that's one issue. But here's my point. Then let's talk about the serpent. He says, wise as a serpent. Then what's going on with this serpent? One is crafty. I'm going to tell you what's going on. That serpent is what? When he goes up on his prey, does he go up where he's making a lot of noise?
No.
You see what I'm saying? He's what? He's quiet.
Crafty.
He's subtle. See what I'm saying? He says, so you be wise. I got it written here, so now pull your paper. I want you to see it. They finally gave it to me before I had to pull under years. And this ain't the original because I didn't have no line in mine. There you go. The guilty ones spoke. Okay, so then look at it, the first counsel. See it?
The first counsel is to be wise and harmless.
Come on.
As wise as serpents and as harmless as doves. To be wise as serpents means to maneuver quietly.
Quickly.
Quietly. With
What?
caution.
Uh-huh.
And with intelligence.
Watch it, to move what?
Quietly.
And with,
Caution.
and,
With intelligence.
did you catch it? Jesus is telling them, when you go out, don't make a lot of noise. You got to be fussing and fighting with everybody. He says, so when you go out quietly. He says, you go out cautiously. Why do you need to go out cautiously? Aren't you dealing with wolves? What will a wolf do? He'll attack you and tear you apart. So you got to be careful when you go out and deal with this wolf. Anybody there are a lot of folks, I told you, hold the label, say they are a Christian. It's only a tag. They're not Christians, but they say, I am a Christian. A Christian is the one that does the will of God. But they're not Christians. Everybody's hollering, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Jesus. Everybody, even Satan. Even Satan. So that's not the issue. So then what is the issue? He says, here's your identity marks that shows that you belong to me. You're going to be quiet. You're going to be cautious. You're going to, watch this. The intellectual side says, you don't go in where the Crips are with a red outfit. You hear what I'm saying? But you hear what I'm saying? You don't go, watch this, you don't go to the Bloods with a blue outfit. You see what I'm saying? And intelligence. He says, so you need to think things out. I'm going where? If anything, when I go in, I'm very polite. And I'm more of a listener than I am a talker. I want to hear what you believe. Because that's where the problem lies. Let me hear what you believe. That's important. Right. Yes. How can I teach you when I don't know what you know? I need to know what you know. So as I hear you talk, we heard it today, right? As I hear you talk, now I know what I need to do to work with you. And here's something that you can certainly use. I told you, you're intelligent. Someone is on a subject matter you don't know anything about. What do you do? Well, you listen, but what do you do? Because if you're listening, then you're saying, and they put you in a trap. That wolf has now devoured you. So what do you do? And you don't have an answer. What do you do? Huh? What did you say? I didn't hear you. You said, that's it. You know, if you don't mind, let me take your name and your telephone number. That's interesting. I mean, that's interesting. And so can we meet again? Because that's interesting. You didn't say you couldn't answer it. You just said, wow, that is very interesting. So if you don't mind, can I take your name and number? Let me get back with you so we can study. Oh yeah, you can go back and study. I don't care about that wolf. I told you he's going to attack. So that's not the issue. The issue is you using your wisdom, and your wisdom says, what I need to do what's best. I didn't have an answer. But I don't want to lose that soul either. The more humble I am, they'll receive me. They'll take me back in. They'll like me. So they say, sure, if you want to have classes, we can have classes together. What's in their mind so we can teach you. Remember, that's what that wolf wants to do. So we can teach you. But in reality, you want to do what?
Teach them.
Teach them. So you're trying to reach them. Watch this. Read a little bit more concerning this old serpent. I want you to see something.
To maneuver with a planned strategy.
With a what?
Planned strategy.
You got it. That's why you don't run off at the mouth. Because you have a what strategy? You got a plan. It's not, you're not going out there, there are so many people go out there unequipped. And what I'm going to do is, I'll live off of what they say, so I'll pull it out of my pocket, what they say. No, what is your plan? Your plan is to stay with what you were going, that's your plan. What your intentions were. You went out, you were going out to save souls. That's your plan. Do I have a strategic plan? Is it an A and B to that plan? Or is it just an A, and the minute I get trapped, I don't have a B? You see what I'm saying? You thinking things out. That snake wants that mouse.
Yeah.
That mouse, when he sees that snake, he's gone. That snake says, but I got a tail.
That's right.
As soon as he come around, pop, I'll pop it. What do you mean? My A plan was to just pound on him and take him, so I could shoot some venom in him. That didn't work. But I'm not going to lose my prey. Hear me? But I'm not going to lose my prey now. I got a B plan. I'm not going to lose my prey. This is where we come in. What do you mean? However we do it, we need to do it very quietly. However we do it, we need to do it very cautiously. Stop and think about it. But the key here is do it. Jesus says you don't understand. You're going to be dealing with wolves, but you do need to understand this. Who has more power?
Amen. Christ.
You got it. You do. You have more power than that wolf does. You really do. Because you're in Christ. So you have more power. So then, listen to what he's saying. He says, so back to where you said, he says, watch this, a strategy to be quick seeing.
To be quick in seeing danger and quick to escape
Did you
from
see it? And you're quick to escape from it. How do you escape from it? Somebody has said something very challenging to you. How do you escape from it? Because you should have thought that out. What if I just walked into a man's house and all of a sudden I see a Buddha statue? And Buddhism was before Christianity. How do I handle it? See what I'm saying? I need to think this out. Because if they go, well, my religion was way before your religion. They tell the truth. It really is. So, what'd you say?
So they could have started before, it still doesn't mean it's real or the truth.
Or what do? Use your counter. Plan and strategic. You saw the Buddha. They made the statement. What do? Stop and think about it. You stay on your plan. You say, yes, you're right, I agree. But you stay on your plan. The Jews were the first Christians. What area are you in, basically? Oh, what area are you in, basically? Then over here, Jewish. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You walk into more Jews than you will anything else. When you head back this way, you walk into more Jews. Jews are Buddhists. That's what you walk into. Brother King's, I didn't come up with this, and Brother King, I heard him do this. He walked up and the lady made a statement, well, I am a Jew. Brother King says, that's great, because the Jews were the first Christians. See how you counter that? That's great, because you're right. I'm glad that you're a Jew, because the Jews were the first to become saints. How you fight that?
I have a question. The only time they say that they're Jewish is if they're practicing Judaism. They're Semite people, but they don't, I have acquaintances, they don't associate themselves as Jews when they're not practicing Judaism.
Okay.
So to say that she's practicing Buddhism and saying she's a Jew, that's contradictory.
Oh, no. I'm saying two different people now. I'm not talking about
Yeah, but I'm
the same
saying
person.
the Jewish nation practices Judaism,
Yes.
okay? So, what the world calls it is, what is it, Semites or,
Orthodox Jews.
Orthodox.
Orthodox is the hat wearing, the little,
Yeah.
that's Orthodox Judaism. But I'm saying for those that are regular, they're Semites. They
Okay.
don't
I don't have a
associate
problem.
as Jew because Jew is shortening for Judaism, which I would say most of them do preach. But yes, of course, the first were Christians, but you know, it's
I don't have a problem with
I
that.
think it's Semite.
But here's my point.
Because Orthodox, they don't believe that
But
Jesus
here's my
Christ
point.
That's a
came.
religion.
No, they believe Jesus came, they don't believe that was God. But watch this, but here's my point. You a Christian. What you call yourself?
I call myself a Christian.
Well, that's my point.
Are you
But watch this. But watch this. But what do you do? Are you a Christian that does what God tells you? Yes. So you study God's word daily?
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Wait a minute. I said, if you are a Christian, it ain't supposed to. Am I right? Not if you are a Christian. Ain't no supposed to. And I said that so I can talk about the Jews too. I have run into some that when you start to talk to them more and more, and they realize, hey, I just want you to know I'm Jewish. That's to say, see, you're talking about Christianity, and I'm not. We have this a lady that walks down here. She walks with her dog. Yeah, she'll tell you in a minute, I'm Jewish. She's not Orthodox. She says, but I'm Jewish. I said, okay. She says, so, for me to come in there, but you don't understand, I'm Jewish. We got a lady right over here on the other side, young girl, that says she's Buddhist. I says, okay, God ain't prejudiced. But you hear me? God is not prejudiced. God don't, he said, he don't have a problem. Just like we had a problem this Sunday evening, a statement was made, and somebody had to run out there to these some cars and see if they clear it up. But you mentioned sex to sex, is that what it was? Sex.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, and some people are sex, of the same sex, and seeing one another. Well, that little fuse, a big fuse, because somebody was in here that's gay. And they got up and walked, but before they walked, they left a letter. I saw the letter.
Whoa.
He sure did, left a letter and made sure that the mother gave it to him. Did you hear me? How do you deal with that? These are the people, we figure, well, what I got to do is be, I got to be nice and quiet. And that's right. And I got to talk to them. But do you talk to them to cave in? Or do you talk to them to make them aware that it's still unacceptable? Yes, God.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you're right. It requires a little more thought.
Yes.
And because it requires a little more thought, you have to be fully aware of what you're entering into.
Yeah.
Because there are gonna be some things that you may be aware of, and then there's gonna be some things that you may not be aware of. But here's the thing, Christ came to establish a relationship
Yes, he did.
that transcends religion,
Come on.
custom,
Come on.
and those are the kinds of things that in a roundabout way diffuse
Yes.
whatever it is that somebody has to say.
You got
But
it.
if you're not putting a
Come on.
little more thought into it, you're gonna be caught. And these
That's where
people
I'm at.
know it.
That's where I'm
Because somebody can say something to shut you down.
That's it. That's where I'm
And
at.
that's because usually when somebody say, I'm this,
That's that war.
they're saying that as a defense
You got
to
it.
shut you down.
That's
And
right.
if they see it in you and you're unstable,
Well, there you go.
they'll chew you up, they'll spit you out.
You never, you didn't plan that. You was having you for lunch. You didn't, watch this. You didn't have a strategic plan.
Yeah,
See what I'm saying? You weren't cautious.
yeah.
I'm talking about that serpent. That's what he's talking about. That's why you got caught. That's why he ate you up. When if you had to say, wait a minute, I need to know my surroundings. When a war, I'm talking about a major war or any war, isn't it strategically planned?
Yes.
Yes.
Some of them, but they don't go over there. They just shoot. Oh Lord, he done took me out. I didn't see him on the side. I don't know. I didn't know he was coming from that backside. It's all strategically laid out, and so is it when we go out. You're in a war. This is your war room. This is it. This is your battlefield, the world. And so I need to be careful or cautious when I step out there because I don't know. We just mentioned the Jews and the Buddhists. Come on now. Catholics, all hell running to them. You run into one that truly believes as a true Catholic. I'm hearing you now. Don't tell me somebody that say they're practicing Catholic. I'm talking about somebody that is gun-ho for their Catholic religion. We'll fight. That's right. We'll fight you all day long. There you go. I don't believe in God. How do you handle it when a man or when a woman comes and you come in and they say, I'm sorry, I don't believe in your Bible? How do you handle that?
Yeah, they don't believe in Christ. Sometimes some of them may even say, oh, I believe in God, but I don't believe in Christ.
Hold on. I don't believe in your Bible. Leave Christ alone for just a minute. I don't believe in the Bible. How do you handle it? I didn't even go to Christ. How do you handle it? Let me show you how you handle it. No, let me show you how you handle it. Thank you. What do you have to work with? That's all you got to work with is this. Aren't you teaching Jesus?
That's right.
Where's it coming from?
The Bible.
And if they say I don't believe in the Bible,
Okay, thank you.
that's it, okay? Thank you. You don't even bid on God's speed. You say thank you, okay, take care, have a nice day. And you move on. Remember, quiet. We keep missing that serpent. He's quiet. He thinks things out. He's crafty. I think that's what you said. He's crafty. He's thinking things out. He's not going to go in and, hey mouse, you stop. I said you stop. He's not going to do that. He's crafty. He's figured out what his plan is. He saw that mouse when that mouse didn't see him.
So we could be like serpents too, where we...
That's my point.
Okay, but wouldn't it be a bigger thing to leave someone with the thought that, how could you not believe a book that taught you the past, the present, and future, and it told you in the past what your present would be, and in the present what your future would be.
Amen.
So that's one thing that tells you that it was inspired
I
by
will
God, because no
believe-
man can do that.
I will play devil's advocate because I believe in the supreme being. I just don't believe in your body.
Okay, so the supreme being, the one that governs over everything, you can find out all about it in this Bible.
I tell you what, you have a nice day.
You too.
But you see what I'm saying? What did you do? You just made it controversy.
I think
I hear you, but that's what I'm saying. God didn't send them out to start stuff. He don't send us out.
No.
Watch this. He sends us out, and those that He wishes to bring in His kingdom, they'll come. Those that He won't. I was out there. I remember when I was Ralph, and some dude got smart with me. He says, "Let me tell you something. I'm a Christian." I said, "Okay." He said, "Well, let me tell you something, brother." He says, "You got on a bracelet. You don't wear that stuff."
Why?
But this is what he said. But you hear me? But this is what he said. Oh no, he says the other neck. You don't wear a necklace. I says, okay, then maybe I need to take it. But you hear me? So watch this. I said, maybe I'll take it off. He says, no, brother. I just want to get you up to speed. You need to know what's going on because a Christian, brother, Jesus was in his time. Sandals and robes were in. But that's not the time to wrestle with that. Watch this, whatever I say, I'm not going to win. Why bother? See what I'm saying? This is what God is trying to, please be that serpent. Be that intellectual serpent. I'm going to sit there to prove my point. I don't need to prove my point.
But you're there to drop a seed.
Well, watch this. You already did that. But what is the seed? This is the point. What is the seed? Because you did. You were trying to give him information concerning who you were. He doesn't want it. You don't waste your time. There are over 30 million people in the city of Los Angeles. And you're wrestling with one person who you ain't gonna win no way.
Shake the dust.
What'd you say?
Shake the dust.
That's what he tells you. You got to let it go. But when I've said this and I've said it to the brothers. Here's what I see what's going on with the church here lately. Because it happened Saturday. I've heard about Normandy. I heard about, I come out of Hawthorne. I went over to Culver Pond, and they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm at Venice now. But I heard about Westchester. So what I want to do is, I'm going to come over to Westchester. If I come over to Westchester, will you let me preach? Would you hear me? This is a true story. Am I wrong? This is a true story. When I didn't say too much, then you go out to the car, came back with what this lesson was, and gave it to me and said, you need to look this over. Because, I want you to see how much work I put in. My mind was already what? Boom, 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 boom. I'm not interested. Watch this. If you had came humble, by the times when I'd like to maybe come over to Westchester and maybe wherever you may need me, what if I needed you to give a lesson or two? But how you came off, I'm done. I gave the lesson to Raymond. Remember that, Lenny? I gave the lesson to Raymond. Told Raymond you can have it before I put it in the round file.
I heard you say round five.
Yeah, that's what I meant, the trash can. That's what I meant by the trash can, before I throw it into the trash can. But this is what I'm saying. I use that example because when we're out there, just a little controversy, just a little, is enough for somebody to say. You can say what you taught me all day long. I am not going. When God sends him your way, he sent you one. When God sends him your way, you can't say too much, it will discourage that person. You don't have to say too much of anything. That person comes. That person becomes a part of it. It's when we try to make, that's what I keep saying, we're trying to make them become disciples. You can't. It's not your business. All you can do is ask them, invite them, and then back off. Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up the fact that maybe sometimes we misunderstand how Satan began.
Come on.
He was a powerful, beautiful angel.
Sure was.
Was it taken away from him?
It sure was.
So he's crafty. He's that same one that was kicked out. He's still, and that's what we underestimate. Satan is not going to reveal himself in that way.
Can't do it.
I mean, I was watching something on TV, even though it's Hollywood. I was watching, and the gentleman knocked on the door, and he had a folder, and he had a business card. I mean, he had his driver's license, and he said, ma'am, I'm doing some work, and anyway, this lady was 75 years old, and she said, oh no, and he said, okay. As soon as she began to close the door, he bust in and whooped her, beat her bad, the lungs and all this and all that. And what I'm trying to say is to look at this young black man. He was black. This was on TV. So you would never suspect
That's what you're saying.
In other words, sometimes you be in your own comfort zone, that's what I'm saying, where your defenses are down, and you forget in that moment, and all it takes, and Satan studies this and he knows. In that moment, you let your defenses down, and your defenses can go down from maybe, for example, not picking up the word daily.
That's it.
Maybe not staying on task.
That's it.
Just that slight veering off course could be the thing that caused you to meet your demise. Who knows?
You just that quick. He told you in Ephesians 6:12 to keep on what? Full.
Amen.
Keep you to keep it. He says, put it on and then keep it on. He says, because you deal with what? You don't deal with flesh and blood. You deal with what? Principalities. And what? And powers.
Yeah.
That's what when you just said powers. Someone that has the power to convince you that what you're doing is a-okay. That's crazy. I've got in your paper, in the Egyptian hieroglyphics, as well as in the ancient lore.
Serpents symbolize wisdom. They were considered to be shrewd, smart, cunning, cautious. In that characteristics, at least, Christians are to emulate serpents.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something? But we see the serpent as being what? Bad.
Right.
Well, watch this. Did you know the serpent that came upon Eve was not bad? It was the demon that went into the serpent that made it bad. You hear me? So we need to understand this. And because it was allowed to go in, and then God had to deal with that snake itself. Sin has come into you. So now you got to crawl for the rest of your life on your belly. But sin crawled into you, created this problem because sin came into the world through that demon, through that snake. He came in. And you, Eve, allowed him to do his works. So then watch this. Look at your text. We got the old serpent. We got to deal with the dove now. Where we at? And 16 in your Bible, where we at?
Yes, we're in end of 16. In the midst of what, therefore be wise as serpents and harmless as doves.
Then it says harmless as doves. So then let's deal with the doves. You all know the dove is, so it's on the paper. See that dove?
The disciple is also to be like a dove, to be as gentle and harmless as a dove, to cause no damage, to be known as a symbol of peace, to be as pure, unmixed, and unadulterated. Thank you. As doves.
As doves. So watch it. Then that would deal with your dad. So watch this. I don't believe in the Bible. As a dove, you would be what? Gentle. See what I'm saying? You would be kind to this person. Because watch this. What if that person is one that God has called? And all he wanted you to do was do what? Drop a seed and walk away. Where are you from? I'm from Westchester Church of Christ. See, someone else comes along that's a Baptist and is trying to coerce them in. What do you think they're going to take? All of a sudden you look a whole lot better. You say, wait a minute, but when will that happen? When God sometimes brings trials and tribulations their way. Now you're calling on that God. You know that Bible that you asked about? Oh, let me give you an excellent. Lord have mercy. Thank you, Jesus. I get a call today. The lady says, can you tell me where I can buy a Bible? I couldn't believe it. I says, okay, ma'am, can I ask you a question? And I'm not trying to belittle you in any way. She said, what? I says, are you a student of God? She says, well, let me think this. I'm an educator, I'm a teacher, I was a teacher. She says, she lives in this area. She says, now I can't get out. She says, so, and I'm terminal something, but she doesn't have long to live. She said, I talked to my friend, and they told me I needed to get a Bible. She said, I used to have one, but I don't know where it is. I says, okay, ma'am. I says, then what version? No, she asked me, can I ask you something? I said, sure. She says, I don't know what version to get. See, now she's leaning towards me. I says, ma'am, you can get the King James, but do you understand the thithers and the withers, and do you understand that? She says, well, my friend said there was another translation. I says, let me say this, you can go New King James, I says, and it will be very close to the King James. I said, it won't say wither, it'll say what? I says, it won't say hither, it'll say here. I says, it will say the same thing, but it'll put it more in our language. She says, that's great, but is there any more? I said, well, there's an American Standard. I says, that's out there. I says, it leans more towards the original language than your King James. She says, is that right? I says, but hearing you, I'm saying, but I know you ain't got a lot of time on the clock. So, I didn't say that, but hearing you, I says, ma'am, what may be something that you may consider, so it's real simple. I said, there's a New International Version. I said, you can even look at that one. I said, she said, well, how do you feel? I says, I'm not crazy about it. I says, but it can make good reading material. I says, because it'll help you to understand, if you were to get the King James, it'll help you to understand when you run into something, then go over there and hear what it has to say. I says, personally, it drops some things that I don't care. It drops some emphasis on words. I says, but I think, yeah, that would be great. She says, so then where can I get this? I says, all I can think is Amazon. I said, there's Christian discount bookstore that you can bring up. I says, these things. She said, oh, this is great. I says, oh, I says, you know what? Thank you. She said, no, I am so thankful for what you've done. She says, you know what, if I could get out, I'd get, but she said, but I can't. I got a call prior Monday, I told you all, when you go on the back side of the church, if you've never been there, then you don't know. But if you've been back there, there's a big old empty bowl. It ain't empty no more.
I saw them doing it.
You saw them? They called me and asked me, is it okay if, we've got flowers, they're not real, but we got flowers and we just like to decorate the side. It's sort of bare over there. And if you don't mind, we like to do, we're in the community, we're in the neighborhood, and if you don't mind with that, because we don't want to create a problem. I says, ma'am, you're not going to create, she says, it's all free. I says, ma'am, you're not going to create a problem. If you want to decorate over there, I says, I don't have a problem with it. She says, and who are you? I said, I'm the pastor. She said, oh, good, I'm talking to the right person. I said, but I'm also the gardener. And hear me? And she's like, what? I says, so it's okay. I says, whatever you do to decor that, we don't have a problem. It looks nice, doesn't it?
I saw the guy out front. I thought he was digging up some plants. I said, what are you doing?
Are you confronting him, Lily?
I said, what are you doing? He started laughing. He said, we've already talked to the pastor. We're planting. I said, okay. I started laughing because I thought,
And I should have told you that I forgot you in the neighborhood. I should have brought it to
I
your
said, what are
attention
you doing?
so you wouldn't get shocked. But yeah, they gave me the call. So what it says is somebody's watching us.
Amen.
You hear me? That's what it says. Somebody saw. Somebody sees we're out there doing the best. We're getting more accolades about how beautiful that yard is. I can't tell you enough. We get more calls, more talk on that. And so that was so nice of them to say, well, if you don't mind, we'd like to beautify it. And I'm like, right on. Yes, we'll take it. What I'm saying then is, if I could have said, no, Ma'am, I'm the one that works that yard. And wait till I get there and let me see what you got. And then we'll work with you. You don't have to say it much nicer. I probably would have heard, or I probably would have heard, it's okay. No, we're okay. No, it's okay, really, it's okay. We just thought we'd do it, but it's okay. Now, I don't want to create controversy with you. I says, gentle as a dove. Yes.
And you know what? By that's happening, and by them decorating the side of decorating the ball, you just never know. That might prompt them to be more curious.
That's my point.
And we want to come in.
You got it, because look what we did. Did you hear me? Look what we did. Well, have you ever been in there? No, maybe I need to go in there. Sunday, when the worship was over with, there was a couple from New York. The gentleman got baptized.
Oh, yeah.
But then too, maybe we're finally doing something right to where God is blessing you.
Maybe I'm sure.
That's how it works with certain people. So we're getting these blessings, so maybe it's,
Calvin, Lord, I can't take it nowhere. But you're right. And listen, when we are gentle, I says, I made it my business when worship was over. Didn't I, Teresa? I went right back to them. I spent some serious time talking to them. I told you, I said, Teresa, remember I said, can you take them so they can get donuts and coffee? And then, remember, I told you, then I came right back and got them again and we chit-chatted. And then, as we talked, I says, guys, I got to go up front, but if you don't mind, maybe I can talk to you afterwards. Sure, can you? Well, watch this. As soon as Calvert ended his, the announcements, they didn't even wait no longer. They came straight to me and says, okay, can we talk? And everybody else, I don't know if y'all saw it, but everybody else was trying to talk, and I had to go between you all and take them straight to the office. And I stayed there till a little after 4, talking to them. Did you hear me? And the gentleman says, hey, I want to get baptized. I said, sure, sir. Well, when you plan on doing that? And now? And all I could think of was, oh my God, is anybody else around here? And Mallory just happened to be here. So y'all don't know it. I've got screws in both of my arms. I have where they've been pulled apart, and the doctor says if I lift something heavy, it can't be repaired no more. That's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it can't be no more repair, because now you tore the screws out. So now I can't beat them. So I don't do it. Dwayne knows. So I said I keep my no. I say so don't even chance it. And talk about you gonna do something and something happens. Don't even chance it. It'll be gone. But Mallory was here, and then I called my brother Calvert, and he came. He did come. Yes, he did. He came. I called my sister Lenny, and she was asleep. Lord have mercy.
she works hard.
But at 9 trying to
I had to go vibrate, I'm so sorry.
just teasing. But watch this, guys. Let's roll. 17, back into your Bible. 17 in your Bible says what? Verse 17, Brother Thompson says what? Verse 17.
But beware of men.
Brother Thompson, you Thompson?
Oh, I'm sorry. We're asking for somebody.
Yeah.
But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogue.
So watch this, guys. Pull your paper. Your paper says what? You see it, Teresa? The wolves.
Oh, the wolves whom believers are to beware are men. The ultimate enemies against whom we struggle are Satan and his demonic hosts, the non-flesh and blood rulers, powers, world forces of this darkness, and spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places.
Guys,
Ephesians 6.
Why would Jesus identify? He just told you in 16, he says what? In verse 16.
Wolves.
He called them wolves, right?
Right?
You see how specific Jesus can be? I don't want you thinking you are serpents. And I don't want you thinking you're going out to get wolves. So I want you to know the wolves are men. So I want you to know that the wolves are men. And watch this, and I want you to be cautious. And this he says, beware, right? And beware, cautious. Something to think about. Isn't that what it is? He says, so what I've just said, I want to make sure you understand what you're doing. Because, see, there are wolves, real live wolves out there. And God told us to beware of them. He ain't talking about the animals. He's talking about the human being that acts like an animal. Oh, let me help you. I had to do this to a brother. I said, a man that goes out and commits adultery, or a woman goes out and you have a spouse and you violate that, you act just like an animal. An animal doesn't care where they get it as long as they get it. When you do stuff like that, you're violating the intellectual being that God has made you. You up here, every skirt you see, you trying to sniff it out. Every pair of pants you see, Lord, he's fine. That is the behavior of an animal. But watch this. But he knows that you, meaning male and female, you are weak vessels. You're weak. He says, when you're that weak, find a mate. Get yourself a wife. When you're that weak, get yourself a man. When you can't do this, or your struggle as you looking at everything that comes through, find yourself a wife. Why? Because you're too weak. And if you're weak, guess who knows it? You better know it. And Satan, watch this. Satan ain't going to go after that which is his. He goes after God's creation. And so what I want to do is I want to devour that one that calls himself a Christian. So you call yourself a Christian. I'm out to prove to you, prove not to you, prove to him that you're not. So he says, beware of men. He said, it's these men. Well, let me help you to understand that text a little bit better. He made the statement, beware of men. Oh, ain't nobody gonna leave him. Beware of men.
Yes, for they will deliver you to council and scourge you in their synagogues.
What then is he saying? Guys, he's talking about leaders. Someone, that's what caught your attention. Someone in the leadership. I've made that statement just recently. When there's a mess in the church, that's because somebody was allowed to lead. And when they were allowed to lead, the brothers should have caught that and pulled that wolf back out. But watch this. But you have to have discernment to recognize that wolf. Talk to me, Calvert. What's the name? The two brothers, AJ and Burroughs. And watch this. And what was I doing? And what did you do? You pulled my attention out in the street. I don't know if you remember that. When I was sweeping in the street. I don't want to create a problem, Brother Thompson. If you don't mind, let me just talk to you. And you said it in such a way, you circled in so that I don't want Brother Thompson to get his defenses up. Now he ain't gonna hear me. Now he's gonna think, well, you just jealous. That's why you like that. But you that became that wise serpent that says, I've got to get him to see the picture. Because wolves have just pulled in. They look like sheep. They talk like sheep. They talk of encouragement. They talk about how sound and how beautiful you are. And I ain't never heard that like this. And Brother Thompson, reason why I didn't ask the preachers because I wanted the teachers because, I ain't never heard no stuff like this. Didn't he say it? I ain't heard no stuff like this. I just want to learn. That's your wolf.
What about the female?
Come on. Come on, Lenny. Come on, Lenny. They were here too. Remember? Y'all don't know it. You weren't around. It's about 7 or 8 of them that came up in here. And when they realized they're not getting through, the first one that realized it was Brother Garrett. Remember him? And he just finally, boom. He just said, I got to go. You ain't the only one that can preach or something. And it wasn't nothing about that. But that's what you do to counter. You're getting exposed, so you got to get out of here. I told you. That's why I said we have to be careful. We have had some wolves come up in here. And thanks to some of my brothers that were aware of it and caught it and says, let me address Brother Thompson. Let him know what's going on. Why? So he's aware of it so he can get that wolf out of here. That wolf needs to go. They're men. There are those that are, watch this, that want to lead. They didn't come in to learn. They came in to lead. We had another brother that came in, sitting in the back, right? That had all the answers every time I say something. He had an answer. I think you were around. He sitting in the back.
Church?
Huh?
He was sitting in the back.
He was sitting over here in the class.
I think she was upset.
Maybe you weren't here. You sure was. And I asked him. He made the statement. Brother Thompson, I've been preaching for a couple of years. I said, is that right? He said, yeah. I said, so I asked him, how long you been in the church? He says, 10 years. Ding, red flag. So how long you been preaching? A couple of years. I says, I'm going to try this. I heard him shut that down. I said, I'm going to try this. I says, couple means 2 to me. I said, you may have been preaching longer than that, but I'm going to deal with 2. I says, so then that puts 8 years. I said, so here's my concern. So when did you learn? So when did you learn? You ain't been here long enough to learn nothing. So when did you learn? Who did you set up under? Who mentored you? Or did somebody tell you, let me show you what you can do? And you like going before the people, not realizing the responsibility of what you're doing. And from what I was hearing, not realizing you're throwing out false doctrine and don't even know it. You're going to be held accountable because you haven't been around enough to learn it. You ain't been around enough to go through trials and tribulations, bumps and bruises, to have somebody shoot you down. You don't talk about Brother Thompson beat you up and wait a minute, then you got to go back and say, let me go back and look at that. And you find out you really did. That really was wrong. But you got something else. You don't realize it as a novice. You got something else that's with you. Pride. And that pride ain't going to let you admit that you're wrong. That pride is going to let you keep going. Wolves. That's your wolf. And he's telling you to beware of him. That's why really God wants elders and deacons in the church. That elder is supposed to be what? Sound in doctrine. Why? Because his role is to do what? Watch over that flock. He's to protect that flock. He's to recognize that wolf that just came in. He's to it's for him to get up and go challenge that individual that just came in. Find out where you came from. Find out who you are. Find out what you know. Because he's supposed to be sound in doctrine enough to discern this wolf that just walked in. So Jesus then has brought some things to our attention we didn't get far. He's brought some things to our attention of how we are to be. He says we're to be what? Wise as serpents, right? And then watch this, and he says, and out of all the wisdom that you have and the intellectual abilities that I've given you, you're also to be gentle. And why? Because that wolf don't even know you saw him either. Remember that snake, you don't know. So that wolf don't even know that you're aware that what you're trying to do, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to allow it. So what do you mean? Well, I could, Bert Thompson, you're talking about going on vacation, maybe you want to give me the class. No, I'm not. I always say when someone comes in and their motive is they need to preach or teach, something is already wrong with that picture. Why come you can't come in and sit down and be a servant like you should be? You can't do that because you got an agenda. And your agenda, well, you don't realize it because nobody told you, you're carrying on like a wolf. You want to get up before the people. And the one that lets you up and there's false doctrine, God is not only going to get that one that's teaching false doctrine, but the one that addressed it or allowed that individual to get up there when you know it wasn't right. You stop that. So then watch this. Then your 17 made the statement. So then your verse 18 says what?
And you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles.
So watch this. I put down here the first source of
persecution is religion, to which both courts and synagogues refer.
I want you to see this. I'm going to back you down for just a little. The first source of persecution is what?
Religion.
Did you catch it, guys?
Yeah.
That's the big issue. You're fighting religion
Yeah.
when you should be teaching.
Christ.
You got it. That's your big issue. There she goes. So your first source of persecution is religion. If you wasn't teaching religion, you'd been all right. If you weren't teaching the Church of Christ as the only true church, you'd been all right. If you was to teach them that Jesus Christ died for you, He is the only way that you'll be able to leave this world and transition yourself into the next one. Wait a minute, but I won't go to church. Let's talk Jesus before we talk church. Did you hear me? Let's stay on Jesus and what He's done for you. And eventually you'll hear about the church. And what I'm going to hear is that the Church of Christ is the only true church. Did you hear me? And I ain't talking about a building. The people that believe in God are that church that belongs to Christ. That's it. But when you start to address the Church of Christ, then you start to connect it to location. When you start to connect it to location, then you start to mention where you go. Did you hear me? All these things come in because you start talking about the church. Then you got the nerve to say, well, I know the church ain't a building. So why did you address it like it was a building? Why did you connect it like it was a building if it wasn't? What you should have done was talk Jesus. And just like in Acts the 8th chapter, when that eunuch says, here's water, what hinders me from being baptized? By the way, Philip never talked about water. You hear me? He never talked about water. But when the Spirit comes upon you, you know what obedience is. Here's water. What hinders me? Watch this. Someone will then say to you, if you're teaching Jesus, so where do you go? Because I want to go where you're going. See how that works? You see how that works? Because I want to, so where you go? So can I come go with you Sunday? See the difference? Our sermon is on the resurrection Sunday. Why? Why does it have to be on that? Well, your sermon should be every Sunday on the resurrection. But why? Because you've got some novice. You've got some folks that believe it's Easter. Did you hear me? And you'll never see them again. Hear me? They'll come in for Easter. They got their nice outfits on, and you'll never see them again. So maybe that is the best sermon, to let them know why you're here. Because someone was resurrected for you. So therefore you have eternal life. That my time has expired. I told you to go back. Don't take my word. You've got documentation now. Review your documentation. Look at your text all over again. And if it don't connect, I don't have a problem. You come back and talk to me. I don't have a problem at all. We can come up with some answers. And I'm learning more and more not to be debated. I'm learning more and more, hey, don't, hey man, you don't got to, no, you ain't got to go in and prove your point. If that's where they stand, okay, you got to deal with it. All I say is when you come into the classroom, if you throw out false doctrine, I'm going to have to work with that. I don't have a choice. That is my responsibility to kill false doctrine. Other than that, you ain't going to get no debates out of me no more. Are there any other statements that need to be made?